about eubacteria. So eubacteria includes thousands of bacteria and they are considered as true bacteria. Okay, they are considered as true bacteria. They are mainly categorized based on the presence of a rigid cell wall. They have got a rigid cell wall. Rigid is very tough cell wall. And they may be motile or non-motile. So already we have discussed what are those bacteria called if they have flagella and what are those bacteria named if they do not have flagella. So bacteria may be motile or non-motile. Eubacteria may be motile or non-motile, and motility mainly depends on the presence or absence of flagella. If they have flagella, they are motile. If they do not have flagella, they are non-motile. Okay, and we have already discussed in detail about the number of flagella as well as position of flagella. So if the bacteria are having flagella, they are called trichus, and if they do not have flagella, they are atrichous. And among trichus, there may be single flagella, flagella on either side of the bacterial cell, and tuft of flagella on one end of the bacterial cell, or tuft of flagella on either end of the bacterial cell, or flagella present all over the surface of bacterial cell. Okay, so based on the presence or absence of flagella, bacteria gains motility. So if they have flagella, they are motile. If they do not have flagella, they are non-motile. Okay, so that is one of the characteristic feature of eubacteria. And coming to the mode of nutrition. So mode of nutrition may be autotrophic or heterotrophic. So among autotrophic, it may be photosynthetically autotrophic or chemosynthetically autotrophic. In the last class, I have told you to remember the terminology, right? We are coming across the terminology and we are going to study in detail about this. So autotrophic may be photosynthetic or chemosynthetic, and there are certain eubacteria which are heterotrophic. So among heterotrophic, they may be saprophytic, parasitic or symbiotic. So first we will see what are the examples for photosynthetically autotrophic. Already I have mentioned the difference between photosynthetically autotrophic and chemosynthetically autotrophic. So photosynthetically autotrophic are those organisms which take up the inorganic substances, and by utilizing the solar energy they convert the inorganic substances into organic substances or food. Okay, for example, most of the cyanobacteria are also known as blue-green algae. Blue-green algae. Okay, they are also called as blue-green algae. They have chlorophyll in them. Because of the presence of chlorophyll, they are able to undergo photosynthesis. Okay, so some of the examples for cyanobacteria: Nostoc, Anabaena. Okay, so these are photosynthetic autotrophs. And there are certain eubacteria members among eubacteria that are chemosynthetically autotrophic. So example for chemosynthetic autotrophs: Nitrosomonas, Nitrobacter. Okay, so these are the bacteria. They do not utilize solar energy for converting inorganic substances. Instead, they take up the energy that is obtained by chemical reactions. So various chemical reactions takes place within the cell of bacteria, and that energy that is released due to various chemical reactions will be utilized, and then the organisms convert the inorganic substances into organic substances or into food. Okay, so such type of bacteria are known as chemosynthetically autotrophs. Example: Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter. So this Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter, they mainly involve in nitrogen fixation. Okay, they take part in nitrogen cycle. Next, coming to heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are those organisms which cannot synthesize their own food. They depend on autotrophs for their nutrition. So heterotrophs may be saprophytic, parasitic or symbiotic. Saprophytic are those organisms which depend on dead matter. So usually they take part in decomposition process, right? The dead plant remains or the dead animal remains are utilized, and they decompose those substances and obtain their nutrition. So example for saprophytic: Acetobacter. Acetobacter are found abundantly in soil. They help in decomposition, or they help in breakdown of those substances that are present in the remains of plants and animals, dead remains of plants and animals. So dead organic matter is utilized here. So in case of parasitic animals, or parasitic organisms, in parasitic organisms we are speaking about bacteria. So these are parasitic bacteria, parasitic organisms. So in parasitic organisms, usually these parasites live in living organisms. They depend on other living organisms for their nutrition. For example, Vibrio. We have already discussed Vibrio. Vibrio are comma-shaped or curved bacteria. This Vibrio cholera, they enter the host body, that is the living organism, and they take up the nutrition from this host body or from the host cells. Okay, so such a bacteria is known as parasitic bacteria. There are many such parasitic bacteria which causes disease in other organisms. Usually the parasitic organism, they live in the body of other organisms and they derive the nutrition from those organisms. Whenever the parasitic organisms derive the nutrition from other organisms, the cells of the living organisms or the host organisms are adversely affected, and this leads to certain diseases. Okay, for example, Vibrio cholera. It is a parasitic microorganism. It causes a disease known as cholera. Disease known as cholera. Especially in humans, it causes disease known as cholera. Similarly, there are certain pathogens or disease causing organisms which causes disease in plants. Okay, for example, citrus plants. Citrus plants are mainly affected by some of the pathogens, especially the bacteria that causes disease in them, known as citrus canker. Citrus canker is a disease, and the citrus canker is caused by a bacteria named Xanthomonas citri. Xanthomonas citri. So Xanthomonas citri is a bacteria, parasitic bacteria, that causes disease in citrus plants, and that disease is named as citrus canker. Citrus canker. Okay. So in your text, the disease name is given, but pathogen name is not given. But remember that there are various kinds of pathogenic organisms that causes disease in various organisms. It may be in plants or it may be in animals. Okay, such organisms are known as parasitic. Next, coming to symbiotic organisms. Symbiotic organisms, they are organisms that survive or that live on the roots or in association with the roots of other plants. For example, rhizobium. You might have heard about rhizobium in your lower classes, which mainly help in nitrogen fixation. So rhizobium is a bacteria that are found abundantly in soil, and these rhizobium bacteria are mainly found around the plants known as leguminous plants, around the plants. Next, coming to symbiotic. Symbiotic organisms are those organisms which are found in association with other organisms. For example, rhizobium. Rhizobium is a bacteria which is found in association with the roots of leguminous plants. So rhizobium is abundantly found in soil. Rhizobium are found in association with the roots of leguminous plants. Example for leguminous plants: pea plants, bean plants, they are all leguminous plants. Even the touch-me-not plant, it is also a leguminous plant. Okay. So some of the examples for leguminous plants: pea plant, bean plant, touch-me-not plant are all included under leguminous. Okay. So rhizobium is found in association with the roots of leguminous plants. So in association with the roots of leguminous plants, this bacteria forms root nodules. You might have heard about root nodules, right? So in the roots of leguminous plants, this bacteria go and form root nodules, and after forming the root nodules, they help in nitrogen fixation. So such a association is between bacteria and other organism is known as symbiotic association. Okay, so this is about the mode of nutrition in case of eubacteria. So here we have to note down some of the structures and features of some of the organisms like nostoc, anemia, etc. Okay. Next we will see about the mode of reproduction. What is the mode of reproduction in case of eubacteria? So eubacteria can undergo both asexual mode of reproduction as well as sexual mode of reproduction. What are those asexual mode of reproduction that eubacteria undergoes? Eubacteria can undergo the asexual mode of reproduction like fission. So what is fission? Fission is splitting up of cells, parental cell into two cells, right? Already we have discussed about fission. Fission is splitting of parental cell into two daughter cell. So this mode of reproduction is seen in case of eubacteria. In addition to that, there are certain bacteria which can produce spores. So when can these bacteria produce spores? In most of the favorable season, when the environmental condition is favorable for the bacteria can undergo mode of asexual reproduction known as fission. But if the environmental conditions are not favorable, then in such conditions some of the bacteria, not all bacteria, some of the bacteria undergo another mode of reproduction, that is by producing spores. Okay, especially the rod-shaped bacteria. We have discussed about rod-shaped bacteria, that is bacillus or bacilli. Bacilli usually produce spores known as endospores. Spores known as endospores. So while noting down the types of bacteria, categories of bacteria, I have drawn the diagram of bacteria, bacillus, having certain spores. You might have noted down the diagram, right? So rod-shaped bacteria having spores inside the bacterial cell, they are known as endospores. Endospores. So only in unfavorable conditions bacteria can produce spores, especially endospores. Endo means spores formed inside the cell. Okay. And in addition to asexual mode of reproduction, bacteria can also undergo sexual mode of reproduction. And sexual mode of reproduction in case of eubacteria is of primitive type. It is just by transferring the DNA from one bacterial cell to another bacterial cell. So what type of sexual mode of reproduction takes place here? Just by transfer of DNA from one bacterial cell to other bacterial cell. So such a mode of sexual reproduction where the DNA is transferred from one bacterial cell to the other bacterial cell is also known as conjugation. Is known as conjugation. So these are the characteristic features of eubacteria.